Andrew here. And today, I want to talk about something most people avoid discussing honestly. From what I've been observing for a long time, there's a major shift happening in relationships. Marriage rates are dropping. Younger men are delaying commitment or avoiding it entirely. And a lot of women, especially after their early 30s, are becoming increasingly anxious about their relationship prospects. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, this isn't about attacking women. It's about examining the incentives and expectations that exist today and why they no longer align the way they once did. Because what many men are starting to realize is that modern relationships often operate on a strange contradiction. The expectations come from one era, but the contributions come from another. What I mean by that is simple. Many men feel like they're being asked to behave like it's the 1950s. Pursue relentlessly, pay for everything, provide financially, protect, lead, and take full responsibility for the relationship. But at the same time, the partnership itself operates under a very modern framework where both people prioritize individual independence above all else. And when those two systems collide, the math starts looking confusing. Let me explain it the way I've come to see it. Historically, marriage worked as a very clear exchange of roles. The man typically handled financial provision, physical protection, and external responsibilities. The woman usually handled domestic organization, raising children, managing the household, and creating stability inside the home. Whether people like that model or not, the important thing is that it was balanced. Each person contributed something the other couldn't easily replace. But the world has changed. Today, a lot of the traditional functions of marriage can be fulfilled through other means. Food can be delivered. Cleaning services exist. Social connection can happen through friendships and communities. Many men are learning they can live comfortably without needing a spouse to manage their household. At the same time, many women understandably prioritize careers, independence, and personal freedom. Neither of these developments is inherently wrong. The issue appears when expectations stay rooted in the past while contributions evolve into something entirely different. That's where frustration begins, because increasingly, men are approaching relationships the way they approach any major life decision, through cost-benefit analysis. And when they do that, some are arriving at a surprising conclusion. They're asking themselves, what does marriage actually add to my life today? In the past, the answer was clear. Marriage offered access to intimacy, family life, domestic partnership, social stability, and emotional support that couldn't easily be found elsewhere. Now, many of those things exist outside of marriage. Dating culture, social communities, and independent living have changed the landscape. So some men are calculating something different. They see the responsibilities of marriage, legal commitments, financial risk, emotional responsibility, and compare them to what they believe they'll receive in return. If they feel the exchange is unequal, they simply opt out. And this is where the conversation becomes uncomfortable. Because when enough people start making the same decision independently, it signals a market shift. Marriage begins to decline. Commitment gets delayed. Expectations collide with reality. Now again, this doesn't mean relationships are doomed or that men and women can't build meaningful partnerships. It simply means the old assumptions don't work automatically anymore. For marriage to remain attractive, both sides have to feel like the exchange is worthwhile. Men need to feel respected, valued, and supported. Women need to feel secure, appreciated, and emotionally fulfilled. When either side believes they're giving far more than they're receiving, the system breaks down. And right now, what I've noticed, and what many people are beginning to discuss openly, is that the traditional script for relationships hasn't caught up with modern realities. Some people are still operating under assumptions that made sense 50 years ago, but the environment around those assumptions has completely changed. So, what happens next? Well, markets always correct themselves. People adapt. Expectations shift. Partnership models evolve. Some women will decide they want a more traditional structure where both partners clearly contribute to building a shared life. Some men will decide that marriage is still worth the commitment when the relationship genuinely improves their life. Others will choose independence and remain single. And that's ultimately the real takeaway here. Relationships only work when both people believe the partnership adds value to their lives. If either side feels exploited, undervalued, or replaceable, the structure eventually collapses. And the numbers we're seeing today, declining marriage rates, delayed commitment, growing skepticism, suggests that many people are currently reassessing what relationships should look like moving forward. My name is Andrew, and here on Savvy Relationships I try to break down these patterns honestly, even when the conversation is uncomfortable. Because ignoring the problem never fixes it. Understanding it, is the first step toward building relationships that actually work in the world we live in today. And if this perspective gave you something to think about, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'll see you in the next one.